Ha ha! What it do, Busters? The bug catcher is here today, smoking trees, and I'm catching Butterfreeze. And you saw the title, Pokemon needs more fighting type, fighting type games. More pick up and play type of games, if you would. Now, I know really even since 2003, the series has expanded and expounded upon the lore, right? So you have Rayquaza, Groudon, Kyogre, in a way being guardians of Earth. You don't need me if you're on this video, you don't need me to explain the lore, right? But the whole premise was battling. Going right back down to Pokemon's core, it's the Pokemon fighting each other, right? Now, even though with Legend ZA on the horizon, and it looks like they finally changed the battling formula, Pokemon, besides Pokken Tournament, Pokemon Snap, how many Pokemon games are there that is pick up and play? If there's any wrestling fans on the channel, you may recall, WWF No Mercy, WCW NWO Revenge, even SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, right? While all of these games are great, great gameplay, right? All of them are easy to grasp right from the start. All of them are easy to, I'm going to go back to it, Busters, pick up and play, right? So, even Pokken Tournament, now Pokemon Snap, I guess you could pick up and play it, right? But Pokken Tournament, is a fighting game I wouldn't say it's pick up and play. I wouldn't say it's that simple. Because you got two different styles of battling. You got, when you're up close combat type of range, and you got the further away to long distance type of combat in Pokken, right? The phase shift. How easy or is that for someone to play when they're used to to grasp? And it might be easy. It wasn't hard for me, right? So I'm not saying it's the most difficult thing in the world, but even I pick and choose when I'm playing that game which phase I'm better at, right? It's not like, a WWF No Mercy where you just play it and there's two buttons and it's getting it in, right? And I'm not saying a game like that, a fighting game, a new Pokemon fighting game should be that basic. But there's different things we can do, right? Like, for example, look at what's on the screen, what I've been showing you. A Hawlucha and a Machamp in the ring. We're having a wrestling match. What if there was a wrestling Pokemon game, right? A boxing Pokemon game. They need some variety. I could see it now. You got a ring. Hawlucha is the cover. You know what I'm saying? They all got their stupid little wrestling moves and grapples. If Rumble Roses can be a game, a wrestling game where, it's a bunch of random, made-up, half-naked chicks doing it's basically the same gameplay engine from SmackDown vs. Raw, right? If I'm not mistaken. If you can put a coat of paint on that with quote-unquote anime bad bitches, right? Why can't we do a coat of paint on a similar game like that for Pokemon? Back in a lot of wrestling comparisons here. Back in 2012, I think, WWE All-Stars was released, and that is just an exaggerated, the gameplay of that is the exact same gameplay of TNA Impact, the video game. Two different companies, same build, right? Same developers. They just put a WWE coat of paint on it and up the exaggerationness by 50. At the same time, SmackDown versus Raw 2011 came out, and even a year or two prior to that, an offshoot of the SmackDown versus Raw series, Legends of WrestleMania came out, and all three of those games have different gameplay. So it's not uncommon for the same company to make fighting games with different styles. WWE even did that for GameCube, Xbox, and PlayStation. They had 3 different wrestling games for each system in rotation, right? My point is, we can have a Pokken tournament type game and also have a crazy, wild wrestling Pokemon game, a UFC style Pokemon game. Maybe even make the fighting game more akin to a Mortal Kombat-esque, if Pokken didn't have the multiple phases and didn't seem like more of Street Fighter-esque move. I get a Street Fighter Tekken vibe from, what's it called? Pokken, right? That's just the kind of vibe I get. A Street Fighter Tekken-ish. But what if they had a Mortal Kombat Injustice-esque type of Pokemon fighting? I even think, and I also think this might be their best, something that would be a good idea, a offshoot of the Super Smash Brothers game, but just Pokemon in it. Just 50 different Pokemon. Pokemon's all about fighting. There needs to be more easier ways to access fighting. If that makes sense. It's just not good enough when at the core of everything that happens in Pokemon for it to be some sort of a physical combat. That's how stuff gets resolved. There needs to be ways for that combat to be fleshed out. And like I said in the beginning, I know they're making the Legend ZA game, battle mechanics different. I know that, Busters. But I'm saying there needs to be more. Because I want to hit, picture Mortal Kombat 11 Liu Kang, right? And if you just tap X, he has like a combo where you just tap X over and over and over, like 8 times, and he just does a crazy karate kick. Oh, bow, 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 with the same foot. He starts kicking the guy at the ankles, and he works his way up with the same foot, culminating in conclusion, right? Kicking the guy in the face, okay? So, why can't just picture a Blaziken doing that? Just picture a Blaziken doing a combo like that for anyone who's played Mortal Kombat 11. Or a Lucario. Just Pokken tournament's fun, and I'm not saying it's not needed, but there needs to be more. And I don't mean a sequel. Variety. We need a variety of ways to beat that ass, right? There is a fan-made game that I just can't figure out how to download called Pokemon Close Combat. It looks like a true Street Fighter 2 clone, but it's Pokemon, And I just think we just need something like that. And, you can even do world building in those kind of games. I'm not saying main story-esque, but, Mortal Kombat has shown in fighting games like that, you can still tell a compelling story. Injustice, you can still tell a very compelling story. Maybe like there is a, Team Rocket's invading, the story could be anything, Busters. But it can still be very impactful, is what I'm getting at. It can still be very impactful. And there could just be Pokemon doesn't put all their eggs in one basket and when they can just go get more eggs, bro. They got me so flustered, I'm starting to lose my train of thought. And with that being said, the bug catcher is out. Fuck with me, Busters.